So we had a couple of disappointing decks before this one. So naturally, Grixis will give us the pick-me-up we're looking for, right? So if you haven't seen this Grixis control deck, this is one of the many decks you can find up on my site that I've liked a good bit. While this deck is controlling, it's important to note that this build is more proactive than a lot of the Grixis builds people try to play in this format. So we've got 4-mana Bolas as well as Glorybringer here to help us close games out. We've got Bonecrusher Giant as well as Chandra, Torch, and Defiance that can apply pressure. Yeah, this is more of a tap-out control. Like, in fact, you can see here, we're mostly a red-black deck that has a small splash for these utility cards. And then out of the sideboard, we have some cards like Negate that help us interact with things like Tainted Pact. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this. This deck's felt very reasonable the last couple of times. That we've played it. Oh, Baleful Mastery's on sale today. Would love to buy a Baleful Mastery on sale. Are any of these other ones playable? Maybe standard playable. I don't know that I like these enough to spend money on them. Baleful Masteries, definitely. Is there a most recent Tainted Pact list? You can find my preferred Tainted Pact list on my website. That one's probably getting promoted to the proven category. It's had a couple of weekends of decent results now. I think it's under high potential right now, but it's been posting tournament results. Probably want to slide that one up. Now, they haven't confirmed anything about the D&D set in terms of mana or anything like that. Sure. This is technically a 2-mana piece removal. Definitely just going to be mastering this turn. Gives them a card, but I wanna play my other 4-mana card starting next turn. There's also a chance to like spell pierce this or something to protect their threat. Cycling is evergreen, I believe now. It wasn't always, but I believe it is currently considered evergreen. Is it not considered evergreen? You're right. These were in a set with cycling, right? I'll wait till the end of turn to do this, so this way, if they draw a card that they could cast, they can't cast it during a main phase. It take a little bit of damage to do this, but I think it's worthwhile. Wow, that's brutal. Makes this big enough to dodge Chandra, Torch, and Defiance here as well. We could just get run down by this. Hey, Dardia, I'm glad you got your stuff sorted and got signed up. Yeah, we're super dead here. And again, like, these are the types of games that just kind of happen when you're playing an interactive deck. We kept that hand a little bit speculatively, hoping that our opponent was playing something a little bit more mid-rangey, and they were playing something aggressive, and we just died. Those are situations and risks you have to take playing a deck like this sometime. I'm going to board out some of our cards that don't play to the board and board in some extra pieces of removal here. I think even with that being their threat, Heartless Act is still pretty good here if they play it out proactively. Also just taking counters off of something so our damage-based removal can add up to kill it, I think is worthwhile. It's a Shadow's Verdict matchup. I don't think so. I think 3 Crux of Fate is plenty. 5 mana is kind of expensive for a piece of removal. Chaos Warp might actually be good here. They probably have a lot of spells in their deck, which means it's just like get rid of target thing a lot of the time. You could technically try and high roll it into a Stone Rain. That's true. Has a Doomblade for their 2-mana threat. Hopefully run off a land or two and get to go 3 into 4. Yeah, Layers were a land cycle out of Invasion, Apocalypse, Planeshift, right? They were illegal right when I started playing Magic 2.5 decades ago or whatever. They're real bad. Lord Spamalot, thank you for the 22. Welcome back. Good afternoon. Second piece of spot removal here looks really good. We'll see our opponent wait until 3. I feel about Pain lands being added to Historic. Well, they're going to be added to Historic. Again, everything that is Pioneer legal will be Historic legal. So, Pain lands are Pioneer legal. I will take that threat, please. Oh, Magic Arena. Oh, Magic Arena. Bloodchief's Thirst getting punished for not being Fatal Push here. If these were Fatal Pushes, we'd have been able to kill this through their Snakeskin Veil. Really want to draw an untapped land next turn so we can jam Nikki B into play here. Play at their resources and put a potential blocker down. Assume they're going to bin whatever this is unless it's another threat. Interesting. Okay, draw. Get to wear through their hand a little bit here. They must have kept Negate over the second Snakeskin Veil there. Getting a little bit punished for that choice. Digging for a Spell Pierce here, looks like.
Once again.
Getting their resources here.
The moat of my power.
I think I'd rather take the 2 for 0 rather than down tick. If they attack, we're definitely blocking. Okie doke. Well. It's garbage time. You don't have to go home, but you can't play here. We gotta try and win a game on the draw coming up. You know, honestly, seeing how these games played out, I probably want my Thoughtseizes. I didn't have my Thoughtseizes in for this game, but being able to Thoughtseize their threat on 1 seems really valuable. Chandra's a little slow. Probably don't have time to ramp. Want to just spend my early mana impacting the board. Opponent's deck is probably pretty threat light, so having a discard spell on turn 1 to take potentially their only creature away has a lot of upside. I can actually play a tap land here. Do I? I'm gonna get him. Okie doke. We might get punished for this. There's a chance we get. I don't know if this is the right line, but it's the Twitch chat line. So this is the content line for reference. Surely warping their only land is a war crab. Come on, brick, rats. They have a shuffle to clear their brainstorm too. That's fine. I think that's the first time I've gotten to Chaos Warp a land on stream. Felt pretty good. Not gonna lie, felt pretty good. Did you miss Black-White Vampires? I never had a submission for Black-White Vampire Sanity. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Giant dragons blowing through ya. I said yesterday I might put Black-White Vampires in the queue, but I also had a bunch of other deck submissions, so I'm not gonna work through those. Glory, glory, glory. See chat, Grixis. Grixis, this is it. We have reached the promised land. This is the playable Grixis deck the legends foretold of. We searched long and far in the desert without sustenance for so long. This is everything I could want. I donated for Grixis control and got Panza as a bonus. Oh, that's great. I donated for Grixis control and got Panza as a bonus. I can honestly see arguments for bottoming any of these three cards. I think I want to keep the cantrip to try and find my blue source, though. That's true. Bottoming the second Inquisition looks great when they only had one target for it. Jackie! Thanks for the 21 months. Welcome back. Friend. Well, Cling targets my own stuff, so this is in fact a cantrip. That's why Cling is great. It's very, very, very good. If we find a blue source next turn, we could be okay. This is a pretty decent blocker. The timer does not take away the opponent's chance to respond. You are misunderstanding how that works with Tainted Pack. The timer takes away your own chance to respond. It actually removes the ability of the Tainted Pack player to respond to what's going on. I mean, missing a color of mana is a heck of a thing. It didn't really have anything to do with the cards that my opponent played that game. So I like leaving Inquisition in to break up their early curve a little bit. Thoughtseize losing us life hurts a little bit too much. Bring in some spot removal. So Verdict hits most of their deck, but I don't think it's good enough to have to. I don't think 5 sweepers is right in this matchup because it's so slow. So like you want some amount of this effect to like clean up in the mid game, but like drawing too many of these early is too much. And I also want some of these other ones. Yeah, and Crux is better than Verdict in this matchup for sure. So double Nikki Bees, a little slow. These are both of our copies of this, which kind of sucks, but discard spell into removal spell. We're definitely not mulliganing. I have all of our colors of mana here too. It's just a bad joke, chat. It's a terrible joke, and it's not funny. It's not funny. You're not allowed to laugh at it. Good Lord. Remember when I said we were going to break up their curve? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Life is suffering, chat. Life is suffering. I think I want to kill the Skoos, because otherwise the Skoos gets bigger. This gets bigger too. It's all medium for us. Come on, we're gonna land for one turn. Just one turn. Don't curve out. It's just unreal. Oh my god, did they draw the cleave? No way. Okay, just Bonecrusher, still dead. Good lord. I love the number of people that responded to my top 5 video telling me that Field of the Dead would be toxic for the format is just like unreal compared to like I don't understand how you can die to Groll curving out like that constantly and just be like, this is fine, but Field of the Dead is not. Like, people playing Field of the Dead, Groll wouldn't even blink. It would just run them over. Like, the fact that Magic players are like, yeah, Field of the Dead's oppressive on turn 8. I can't win against Field of the Dead on turn 8, so it has to stay banned. It's like, the rate at which you die far before turn 8 is just like crazy. It's just like, yeah, you're right. In the late game, Field of the Dead is very good. There's 1,000 decks in this format that don't give you a late game. I would believe that many of the people that are upset with Field of the Dead and think it's too good want to play shitty blue-white control decks. I would buy that for $1. No, I don't want to. Come on, Darehulk, stop being silly. Don't suggest I make changes to my deck after my Groll opponent literally curved out the stone cold fucking nuts. After we looked at their hand and they had nothing. We had a very reasonable sequence against their hand and they curved out perfect despite our Inquisition. Don't make changes to your deck after that happens. The blue-white control deck's even good in this format as is. Not really, admin. And the builds of it that are better than not are ones that are more proactive. So the blue-white control decks that are like kind of okay are the ones that are kind of okay are the ones that are playing like Gearhulk Opus to close games out. Now, the upside here is I'm going to get to use this to ramp into my 5th mana next turn, so that's nice. Oh, this is a dragon. Oh, gross. Ugh. Ugh. Vomit. The problem is they have another threat here, right? Yeah, you can't glory bang the dragon either. I almost feel like I need I need to Bolas as just like, hey, look, a distraction. I'm pretty sure this is the play.
Defiance has consequence.
And like, hope they don't have shock and they need to ship this into here next turn. Ugh. Just punish for our choice of removal. We just can't know what they're gonna have as their follow-up. Man, today's just been a clinic in why you should be playing something proactive and historic. And our deck's got a little bit of proactivity to it, but not quite as proactive as some of these other ones.
Defiance is infuriating.
Well, so much for playing a blocker, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, like, the girl opponent ran hot. I don't know that I would say this opponent ran hot more so than, like, we just had, like, pretty typical interactive deck problems where... Like, what did that have to do with Eldraine? Like, their cards didn't really have anything to do with Eldraine. Like, that's just, again, like, that's just how interactive decks work in these formats a lot of the time, chat. You're playing interaction to hope that it lines up well into your opponent's deck, and, like, Crux of Fate is a sweeper in a lot of matchups in this format, and it's a sweeper that doesn't kill our things a lot of the time, but occasionally you run into people that are like playing a dragon card, and that's just like how Magic works. Especially when you're playing a not proactive deck like this, you're putting yourself in a position to hope that your stuff lines up a lot of the time, and we just did not have any of our things line up there. Just building up our cumulative variance, something like that. Oh, let's see it up for a little bit. This again's very good. 2, 3, 4 lands to play them. If that's true, we should end the day with more trickery. Nah, the trickery deck's actually super unpopular. Every time I post a trickery video, it gets significantly less views than everything else I post that day. The Magic Arena community really dislikes that archetype. Iteration on 2 is just a cantrip. Interesting. I mean, like, people in chat don't need to justify to me why you don't like it. I'm just telling you objectively it's not popular. I don't give a shit why you don't want to watch it. Like, there's 1,000 reasons you could have for not wanting to watch it. I'm just telling you a fact. You don't need to justify the fact to me. I understand it's a fact. It's a fact because it's true. Yeah, you don't need to explain to me why it's true. Flunge. Look at all my spells. Remember that time I bought him to spell champ? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Man, maybe we're gonna change to BioShock early today. I feel like Historic is sending me strong messages that I should be doing something else. Thank you. We're gonna give Grixis another chance or two, but if we continue just getting magicked, we might move off early. Like the people in chat, just like, I'm just gonna time people out for being stupid. It's tough to play 3 colors. Like, did you watch that last game that we played? It had nothing to do with playing 3 colors. It had nothing to do with playing Grixis. Every deck in Magic sometimes keeps a 2-spell hand that's super reasonable and curves 2, 3, 4, and then you don't draw another spell. Like, that's just how it works. Thanks for the bribe, old Greg. We're definitely ending on BioShock today. I'm just not sure exactly when we're starting it. And that's, you really need to, like, take a step back and be able to separate yourself from the results of what you're seeing on your screen. Like, just because you have a bunch of bad sets doesn't mean your deck is bad and needs to change and is unplayable. You need to be able to take a step back and think about, hey, what happened here? Is this an average case scenario? How often do I expect that to happen? Like, there's been plenty of decks, like, we even played decks today where, like the Jund deck, for instance, where our mana base caught up to us in a number of games, and the mana base was responsible for our losses. But, like, that hasn't been the case in this set here today, in this set here this afternoon. No spoilers in chat, Greg.
You and I are gonna take them. Yup. You're going.
These can't sacrifice yet, so let's stomp one of them. Sure, 6 cards in the bin. Oh, I should have played that for black, right? It's fine. I have a 3rd one in hand, but that was loose. So let's make mana with Chandra so we can Bonecrusher plus Cling this turn. Dr. Jazzin, thank you for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Resolves. So now, before these hit me, I'm gonna go ahead and escape Cling to Dust here. So that way there's never a point where there's 8 cards in my bin for them to be able to draw with these. This deck felt like it had a decent Rogues matchup last time we played it. Cling to Dust, definitely in part being responsible for that. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in some more spot removal here. Do Do I want discard spells, and how many of them? Probably a Dragon God out matchup. I want to drag my curve down a scotch here. This getting Mystical Disputed at 5 also doesn't feel good. I think this is a good enough blocker that I want to keep them in. I think I'm going to leave the Inquisitions in because they don't hurt my life total, but I'm going to go ahead and cut the Thoughtseizes. Even though tagging something like Into the Story is good on occasion, I think the life loss from this is too much potential downside. I think the Crux of Fate... Actually, Crux of Fate's probably just worse than Shadow's Verdict in this matchup, right? Because exiling stuff from their graveyard is relevant. I think I want about 3 sweepers in this matchup. I think more than that's probably too many. But the upside of exiling is relevant here. And this doesn't hit my dragons anyways because they're more expensive. It's for the Follow Virtue. I have a few other things I've already bought. Waiting to play for my variety stuff, Fat Robot, but that's something I might do down the line. In general, I try not to do games immediately on release because things usually get released a little bit buggy. So giving them at least a couple of months or a little bit to sort things out tends to provide a better play experience. And like in the case of something like Cyberpunk, I'll probably wait a year or more for them to get their stuff sorted. Yeah, all of the characters in FF7R have pretty unique combat in different ways. They've done it in a pretty pleasant manner, in my opinion. They're down here. No, I think the red-white deck's a great example of a proactive deck in this format. I think it hits a lot of the things you want to hit. Does a lot of the things you want to do in a format like this. Got disruption while also being able to beat people down. Elite Spellbinder is so good. Okay. I'm going to upkeep this. So this way, if they have a counter spell, they have to spend the mana on their turn. As opposed to you can spend it on my turn. They have a lapse or a Drown in the Loch here. This game's probably close to over. I guess we could draw a couple of decent spells, but man, they're even milling us lands on the in-between here. Do I just pass with Baleful Mastery instead of playing into what's likely a counterspell? I feel like I just pass with Baleful Mastery. You know, Graham, thank you for the 23 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. They get to draw a card here regardless. I might as well only pay 2 mana. I think I'd rather Glorybringer get drowned than Nick get drowned. Leave Into the Story, yeah. Play the land out here to play around Dispute. And like, I have to kill this to keep them from milling my dragon, but then they get to draw a card with it. We could just see them like draw Luris, play a mill thing from the bin. Oh, Into the Story is so good. Probably too far gone at this point. That's the power of their deck, right? Like the first draw 4 draws another draw 4, and then you just like bury your opponent. Does this count as being L-trained? Yeah, I think so. You know, I'm gonna put these in on the play. I think I need to try and fight them on the axis of card advantage to grind a little bit, and pulling my planeswalkers out is wrong because of that. Obviously not great as a removal spell, but... Great. Ian just needs to draw 3 lands. We're playing 26 of those. Let's see if we got a shot here. I want a third Cling to Dust to the 75 for this matchup. The games where we see Cling versus the games where we don't are very different. That's just a pretty reasonable card. Maybe the third Lantern in my sideboard should be a third Cling to Dust. It's probably not unreasonable. It's still graveyard hate. Winter YYC, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make that change. It's like a pretty marginal change in a lot of places, but it would help this matchup quite a bit. Yeah, the two things on my personal historic watch list are definitely Luris and Thassa's Oracle. I think those are the 2 cards that I would probably classify as these are likely too powerful for the format. Nicol, Bolas, the Ravager. So nice, we'll draw it thrice. Yeah, Drown does check the number of cards upon resolution, so if you escape with that in response to their Drown, you can counter their Drown. Fun and interactive gameplay. So, people always include interactive when they complain about decks like Rogues, and it's so weird and funny to me that they do, because, like, this is objectively interactive, chat. Like, it's not fun, you're right, but it's super interactive. So the thing you actually dislike about decks like Rogues is the fact that they're interacting with you. A lot of Magic players have this weird fetish around if something's interactive, it's good. And yeah, Rogues is exactly that. Rogues is frustrating because it makes your interaction not... It's so interactive, your plays don't matter. Too much interaction is toxic. It removes player agency when none of your cards are resolving. Really wish we would have drawn a land here, because if I had a land, my opponent wouldn't have been able to drown a 5-mana spell here. They can drown a 4-mana spell, though. Second Drown or third Memory Lapse. Do you have them? If they don't have either of those, we're in a pretty decent spot here. This blocks, and it takes a card out of their hand. So even if they have a removal spell here, they're going to get 2 for 1 by this. Okay, we're in an okay spot now. We do not have a third black here, unfortunately. They discarded Cling to Dust. It went up here. I think we just get to closing here, right? I think I want to kill that before I can draw cards. Yeah, the interface can be a little confusing there. Wow, they didn't play Luris, huh? Start with this. Control is on the list of games that I bought on sale. That we'll get to at some point.
Now you're playing with fire.
I have a list of games on my watch list that people have recommended that I've been buying when they're like 30 to 50% off. Maximus and Mr. and Mrs. Streamer, thanks for the follows. Good morning, good morning. I believe it's the Ultimate Edition. I have it on the PS5, Fuzzy. Any game I can play on the PS5, I'm playing on the PS5. I prefer the controller.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Did you draw Mystic Dispute? No.
Will resonate throughout the multiverse.
Throughout the multiverse. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna put one more. I'm gonna put a third Cling in the sideboard. Nah, we turned it around, chat. I'm gonna give Grixis a full fair shake. I said if we continued getting beat up, we're definitely gonna end on Bioshock, but I'm not gonna switch to it early. Listen, chat, Grixis decided it wanted to play more Magic, okay? Give my boy Grixis a chance. Lundblade, good afternoon. This deck's been very reasonable the first few times we played it. And like, again, like, a hand like this, like, I think I'm supposed to keep this hand. If they're playing rogues or a control deck or anything graveyard-based, this hand is fine. But if my opponent's playing Groll or something creature-based aggressive, we're basically just gonna lose this game one when I click keep. And these are the types of hands where a deck like this is much better in an open deckless tournament than it is on the ladder play like this, because you're not going to lose these random game ones when you click keep on a hand like this. Good luck, Quasar. Aggro here. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and concede. I'm not going to bother. We could flail around a little bit. But, and again, like, hands like that, I don't think they're bad keeps. Like, you keep hands like those in these matchups. They're fine. They're like, it feels bad, but like, if you want to avoid feel bads like that, you need to not play interactive mid-range control decks like this. We can mulligan this postboard. Now, this is something that's also, we added in, you know, some more pieces of 2-mana removal. This hand is good. They didn't have a turn 1 play, so I assume they're going to have 2 to 3 Burning Tree Emissaries this turn. Only 1 Burning Tree Emissary. It's like Christmas, chat. All right, Grixis, can we get a third land? Negative. I wonder how much the metagame would shift if there's a function where, I mean, you could see that comparing like just like what melee has versus everything else, right? I don't think melee is that different than the latter. But definitely one of my favorite features of other games like Hearthstone, Mythgard, Runeterra, stuff like that, is those games, even though they're best of one, they let you make intelligent mulliganing decisions when they're best of one game at least. I definitely personally enjoy Magic significantly more as an open deckless game, because it makes, like, decks like this that we're currently playing are the types of decks I really like playing in Magic, and they're just so much better in an open deckless setting. I'm gonna go ahead and cycle this Cling to try and hit my land drop here. I agree. Definitely the best thing Companions did for the game. Could not agree more. I think this play is correct, but it's still ow. And like, again, like, this game really highlighting how important it is to have the right cards in a matchup like this, right? Like, I mulligan to 5 this game looking for my meaningful interaction, and we're looking like we're gonna win this game because we found said meaningful interaction, right? Having the right cards is so much more important than having more cards in matches like this. These matches aren't about card advantage. They're about tempo and being able to play to the board at an appropriate rate, and being able to mulligan so we can maximize our ability to do that is important. Yeah, honestly, you know, at 6, I almost sighed and clicked keep that because it was similar to the 7 and I didn't want to mulligan. Yeah, basically all of the MTG Melee tournaments are open deckless. You just joined a historic game with Winota. Like you were, like, had an old league set up. Yeah, if you had an old historic event, it doesn't clear you out. I think I keep this speculatively. If we peel a shock land on 1, this hand is absurd. Like, any black shock, this is one of our best hands we could have here. Man, okay, so, like, that's a decision. So now, do I Inquisition on 1? I think we Inquisition on 1. Super punished for my choice. If they hit the untapped land here, we're probably gonna die. Yes, this reads, this is healing salve, chat. we need our Spell Pierce for their stuff. Are we killing the elf? That's a good question. I think the answer is yes. I think we just need to buy ourselves time, right? Because like if I stomp something and they untap and they collect it company me, I like lose on the spot, right? Could still be losing on the spot here. I need to draw another piece of 2-mana removal to have a chance. Yeah, I think we're dead. I think we're dead. Yep. Yeah, needed an untapped land done too. I mean, I'm dead on board to cast Crusher. These get trampled, chat. They get +1/+1 in trample. We're done on board. And again, like, those are the types of close games where if you don't auto-lose game 1, you get a game 3, right? But Gruul is better on the ladder than it is in a tournament because Gruul gets to auto-win a significant number of game 1s. Gruul's win rate as the most played deck in this past tournament weekend was very average. It was right above 50%. And I would wager that Gruul gains as many as 10 percentage points in a ladder setting. I would bet my gut says it gains 5 to 10 points with all of the free game 1 it takes. Artem Zix, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Now, I think there's a good chance we died when we missed our land, when we had a tapped land on 2, which maybe that means I'm supposed to just throw that hand back. It could be that I was supposed to mulligan that 7, even though it was good with an untapped land. It was just too speculative. You know what I think would actually be cool? I would really like a best of 1 with sideboards. I think would be cool. I think like you see each other's deck lists, you have a 15 card sideboard, you sideboard, you play best of 1. I think that would be a way that I would enjoy playing best of 1. Yeah, like a game 3 ladder, basically. Yeah. So like you could experience how Magic is designed. Gruul has a 60% win rate on the best of 3 ladder since April 15th. Yes! Nothing makes me happier than when my stomach matches up with the data. What was the data matrix? The data matrix had Gruul at a 50.8% win rate from this weekend, which means it gained almost 10 percentage points on the ladder, just like I thought it would. That's how we play tabletop. We just look at each other's decks and pre-sideboard it back in the day. Yeah, that would be sweet. Well, so from a competitive tournament setting, obviously I think it's worse than best of 3 Alec, but from I'd like to play a quick game on the ladder, but I don't want to experience matchup variance. Like that would, as hard as it does in best of 1, like that's what that would allow. It would be like, oh, I can play a quick game of Magic without committing to best of 3, without having to experience what I would consider to be a downside of best of 1. So I think with this draw, I actually shock this in this turn, because this way if I draw an untapped land next turn, I can do this plus this. Okay, so definitely gotta murder this. Then we just play this out. Getting game 1 at this matchup is huge, so we get to board in 2 more sweepers, and their deck just like has a real bad time against people playing sweepers. I think things like a random sample of 7 cards or 7 specific cards gets gamed by the system a lot. You should just show people full deck lists real quick. I think like 30 seconds or 60 seconds to look at a full deck list is better than random bullshit like show you 7 random cards. I think that's pretty nonsensical.
All of the multiverse will bend to my will. My intellect is without limits.
So if I attack with these, they have to block both of them, right? So it kills 2 elves. Yeah, and look, we should be a huge favorite here. Post board, I get to bring in some cheap removals, some extra sweepers. This is again a matchup where I'm going to trim my Thoughtseizes, but I leave my Inquisitions in. You'll notice I do that a lot in the creature matchups with this deck, which is the reason why I have 4 Inquisitions in my main and the extra 2 Thoughtseizes in the sideboard. Because a deck like what we're playing can't really afford to have take life in these creature matchups for discard, but the discard is valuable for sculpting our game plan and picking apart our opponent's curve. Sweltering Suns might be okay over or an Anger might be okay over the Shadow's Verdicts. I don't think those are strictly worse, they're just kind of different. Does the RTX voice hide my shuffling sounds? You can hear it. Hear that nice shuffle and bridge. Need a little bit of that sick shuffle bridge action. I've missed my shuffling deck, chat. Have you found Mind Stone to be awkward in this deck? No, I like it a lot. It explicitly doesn't fix our colors of mana, but that's not what I'm playing it for. I'm playing it to get to my spells ahead of curve sooner. Shuffling physical cards that a boomer thing. Yeah, think of it like a fidget spinner. Zoomers know what fidget spinners are. Yeah, the you can't accelerate to 5 mana Bolas feels bad in some niche situations, but the upside of being able to cycle it is really huge. Like, our deck has 28 mana sources, so being able to cycle off a number of them is valuable. I'm not going to kill any other things here. I'm just going to go ahead and attack for 8. Panzer Bandit, thank you for the entire year. Welcome back. Let's get you a sword to go with a shield. See, chat, we were just running bad to start. The Grixis deck is fine. It has some typical control deck problems on occasion, but the fact that this deck has, you know, the 4/4 flying creatures lets us close out in situations other control decks would struggle. Pando, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Fault you for playing catch and release with this one. This is another one where if they're playing aggro, we could get into some trouble, but we're on the play at least. We have most of our colors. And like, if we don't draw lands, hopefully we'll draw 1, 2, and 3 mana spells to cast with the lands that we already have. This card 2 for 1 people in a lot of situations is really good. The 4/4 stat line on turn 4 trades profitably with a lot of things, so you just get like quality 2 for 1s while also playing to the board with it. Is there a scheduled time for Bioshock, or are you just imagining that? 1 p.m. Central will be the latest that we're starting. I might start it a touch early. If this one continues to be good, we'll probably play it for like another hour or so, and then shift over to Bioshock. My approximate plans are to do Magic till about 1 o'clock most days, and then do Bio after, whatever variety game we're doing. I won't be doing variety at the end of tomorrow's stream, though, because my wife and I are getting our 5G boosters tomorrow afternoon at 2 and 3 o'clock. "5G like cell phone?" Yeah, we have reception issues in the basement, so we're hoping the booster shot will help us with those a little bit. It is kind of unfortunate that we're drawing all of our blue-red lands here, because we don't have double black currently, but we actually don't need double black for the spells that we have, so like 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. Yeah, I'm not going to be live at all on Thursday, Blue. And if Christy or I are suffering on Friday, I'll probably take Friday off, but I'm hoping that we'll be okay enough for me to work Friday. I figure even if one of us is fortunate, there's a good chance the other won't be. So like, even if I'm okay and Christy's in a bad way, I don't want to have her wrangling the kids. Want to murder their board here?
You're flammable. Guess you don't need me anymore.
Okay, feel like we're in a pretty good spot here. I wonder if we're supposed to bang the Soulscar Mage first so they can't minus our Glorybringer. I think I'm just supposed to kill the one that hurts me more, or we could just do that. Hi, friends. Christy and I both got Pfizer vaccine. The Mad Max post-apocalyptic hellscape that will be occurring sometime in the next 10 to 20 years, they're going to divide the people up into houses based on which vaccine they got. So you want to make sure you and your significant other get the same one, so you're sorted into the same Mad Max house. "10 to 20 years, that's optimistic. Yeah, right? My investment guy doesn't like to laugh whenever we talk about retirement, and I bring up the fact that, like, there might not be retirement. Well, always like, well, you know, who knows what things are gonna look like 40 years from now. Luke Lands, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. And just in case me being sarcastic isn't coming through clear here for anybody that's new to the channel and doesn't understand the humor and the way I talk here, you should get vaccinated with whatever vaccine you have available to you at the earliest possibility. You shouldn't take your COVID and medicine advice from me, random shitter on your Twitch stream. You should look at the CDC guidelines or whatever your state or national health officials are telling you to do. Don't get your medical advice from people on Twitch and YouTube chat. Just don't do it. Be smarter than that. Yeah, that's what Facebook is for. Ow, it hurts. It hurts. Huh. We could glory bang here, but Bolas taking the last card out of their hand is also appealing. I think I'm just supposed to kill something, though. Playing to the board seems more important. I pay Jeff $5 for the premium medical advice. Yeah, something like that. But Jeff Joe Rogan said, you know, honestly, I feel like I should be grateful to Joe Rogan. Because Joe Rogan, being the massive shithead idiot that he is, he gives you this really easy way where when you're talking to someone and they bring up Joe Rogan in a positive light, you know you can end the conversation immediately and walk away from them because it's not worth continuing. So in that way, he does us a public service. I think I heard it put, what was the best way I heard Joe Rogan described it was, 20 years ago you didn't need Joe Rogan because you just had your friend's older brother who smoked pot in the garage that would tell you not to trust people and to believe in conspiracies. But now you get that from Spotify. Okay, so just more playing to the board again here. Honestly, so it's kind of an interesting decision. Do I want Crux of Fate or Shadow's Verdict here? So Crux misses their Fairy Dragon, but this misses the 5-mana thing. So, yeah, obviously Tucker Carlson's a big evil. I don't know. I don't really put, and this is personal and subjective, so you can feel free to disagree with this. I don't really put Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson in the same category of types of people, because Rogan strikes me as just kind of a harmful idiot, whereas Tucker Carlson strikes me as he understands what he's doing and is actively spreading evil. And that's subjective. You could say Rogan falls into that category too, I guess. Yeah, I think Rogan's just an idiot. I think Carlson is actively dangerous would be, I agree with that. That would be my take on it. And at the end of the day, like, why they're doing what they're doing, you could also argue doesn't matter. But for anybody that's new to the channel, welcome. In addition to talking about Magic, we talk about life, we talk about my kids, we talk about just all sorts of stuff, and I don't shy away from hitting on the important topics like politics on occasion when they come up naturally. So Joe Rogan, I would wager, fancies himself as something as a libertarian. Tucker Carlson is he's the Fox News mouthpiece. that spreads lots of very overt dog whistles and anti-vax. I kid you not. Here's what you need to know about Tucker Carlson. On a recent Tucker Carlson piece of news, opinion piece, he said, and I quote, "If you see a child wearing a mask in public, you should call Child Protective Services because requiring a child to wear a mask is equivalent to child abuse." That is a direct fucking quote from Tucker Carlson. So if you want to know how bad, awful, stupid things that he peddles and pushes, that appropriately highlights how evil and awful he is. Just unreal that masks are a partisan issue in the United States. All right, so I think we're just going to continue to stay on the kill all their stuff plan here, right? While this taking a card out of their hand is appealing, they could shrink it with Soulscar in play, so I think... Ooh, actually, do I just Abrade this now and get Chandra alive? I think that's the play. I think we do this and Abrade this to keep Chandra at 5. Entropy Engine, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub, and thanks for the 3 months in advance. Welcome to the channel. Yep. Yeah, it's real bad. Like, I think a lot of people who, like, are from other countries, like, when they hear me complain about some political things in the United States, I think, like, we're so cartoon-esque evil with so many things in the United States, it's very easy to assume that, like, Jeff's exaggerating and it can't be, like, what it is. But when you actually sit down and, like, look at the stuff that people like Tucker do, it's bad. It's really bad. I think this exchange is good for me. I think this is fine. We get to drop Nicol Bolas down now and take another card out of their hand. So they've got like 3 lands, 1 card versus Nikki B and Bonecrusher. Yeah, I'm glad we stuck through. Fuck you, Genesis Protec. Both sides. Take your both sides bullshit and shove it up your ass, you useful idiot. Every time you both sides anything in the United States, you are a Republican mouthpiece talking point. Both sidesism only exists to mitigate and downplay what's happening on the right in the United States. The right in the United States is having an insurrection in the Capitol, calling an election fake, even though they lost all their court cases and couldn't prove any fraud. The right side in the United States is people like Tucker Carlson telling people to call DCFS on people who have their children wearing masks. The left in the United States wants you to have health care and wants to pass an infrastructure bill and wants to raise taxes on people that make more than $400,000 per year. So the comparisons to both sides in the United States are fucking bullshit, and they're unrealistic, and they're ignorant to reality. And they're never welcome on my channel. Ooh, adventures. They don't have another land. They have an elf in play, but I can't kill that elf. Thanks for the Prime, Hessington. I feel like we could go a couple different ways on this. I feel like taking their mana and hoping that that doesn't hit probably isn't where I want to be in life. Yeah, it could just be to take the beast. It's not a polarization problem. The left isn't polarizing people. The left is literally working against actual factual fascists that tried to fucking attempt a coup and overthrow the fucking government because they didn't like the result of an election. They're not comparable. I'm polarized because the other side literally attempted a violent insurrection. People fucking died. They killed police officers. Like, it is like, it's polarized, us versus them, because the other side literally, like, it's unfucking real. There's no comparison. There's not. Just stop. This Crux of Fate's looking like it's gonna be really good. Oh yeah. Okay, so I can technically play Chandra here and uptick her. And like they attack her, we gain some life basically. That's probably fine. I could just like play a tap land and not use my mana this turn, but that doesn't sound very exciting.
When people start screaming, this will be.
Yeah, Chandra uptick. She like survives. Oh man, I'm gonna have to tag the best deck of the day as NSFW language.
Now you've done it.
Wanna make sure we don't get flagged on YouTube. Crux of Fate being double Stone Rain's real good. Oh, you know what? Let's draw here because we could hit a Crux of Fate.
Yup, you're going down.
Make sure we click the right half here. I probably just want to get Nikki B going, right?
Oh, today's my lucky day.
It is, yes. I've clicked the wrong half on stream. Urkadar, thank you for the 45 months of Prime. Welcome back. So get some more ways to destroy artifacts here. Honestly, the fact that they're on adventures makes me think I want more sweepers in this matchup. So against like normal Grawl, I don't board in the Shadow's Verdicts, but they had a black splash it looked like. So exiling all their stuff that plays the board seems pretty good. I think again, this is probably a leave Inquisition in, cut Thoughtseize. Heartless Act sounds good here. It's hard to tell exactly how big they're going. I feel like I want more of my card advantage, so I probably don't want to cut Mind Stone if I'm bringing in extra sweepers. What axis do I want to be fighting this on? Maybe I have a hard time keeping Chandra alive. She doesn't generate card advantage quite as well as this does. Remember too, if you're someone that enjoys discussing politics on occasion, the subs Discord server is a great place to do that all of the time, as much as you'd like or as little as you'd like. Have tons of gaming channels in there, as well as channels for politics and cars and food and all sorts of non-gaming related topics as well. So we got a bottom 2 cards here. I think I just keep my lands and my double removal spell to start here, huh? Even with the sweeper drawn here, I think I want to nip the Landmore Elf in the bud to start. If you try and wait till 5 to interact with their board, you're gonna die a lot of the time. Wow. Okay. Huh. What are they doing? I'm glad I boarded the 3rd Nicol boss and seeing Crux, huh? This would imply they're a lot more grindy than I was expecting them to be. Maybe I want my Cling to Dust for game 3. That's super rude. Alright, I think we're ditching Glorybringer and, like, hoping to save up for Shadow's Verdict. I don't think I agree with you, Kraken. That wasn't my experience playing it. I've definitely liked the Mardu variation of Witch Pyro the best for sure. Having the flexibility of cards like Lightning Helix is big game. This is a little greedy, but if we hit our 5th land next turn, we have a really good chance to win with these 2 cards. I have not played the Energy Opus deck on stream, no, Rifle Mike. Glorybringer doing a bang-up job here. Again, we mulliganed to 5 this game, but the right cards are more important than having lots of cards to start. We're able to find our high-impact cards, let us play to the board when we wanted to play to the board. Thanks for the bits, Overclock Sloth. As long as the deck queue is full, I'm focusing on getting through deck queue decks. I imagine we'll get back to doing things that I'm choosing to put in there next week again when I'm not taking a day off. But this week I'm taking off Thursday because of my vaccine booster, and then Saturday is the open. A removal spell for this? What are they doing? Oh, do they have Collected Company? We're gonna die to a Coco. That's unfortunate. Oh. Magic is nothing like gambling. Please brick. Please brick. Please brick. Well, shit. I put extra dragon in on the play. Do I want Soul Guide Lantern? They have Croxa and they have Midnight Company. Soul Guide Lantern seems potentially good. Their deck's got a lot of things going on. Narrator, they didn't brick. Is Cling better than Soul Guide? So, the problem with Cling in this matchup is we're frequently the things we want to be clinging are creatures, which means we're not getting to draw a card with Cling. And if we're not drawing a card with it, I'd rather just proactively be able to please draw a blue source. 2 draws at a blue source. If we get a blue source, we get to go 2, 3, 4, curving right on out the door. One more shot. Magic Man. Any untapped lands. Any untapped lands. 28 mana sources later. And of course they have Collected Company this turn. I've played this being able to block since they're going to accompany me this turn. If their company animates Thoughtseize, we could potentially kill her with Shadow's Verdict. I'm dead to Thoughtseize becoming a creature now, right? Probably dead anyways. Exactly dead. Exactly 0. Man. If we'd have hit the land the turn sooner and been able to survive that, and then got to Shadow's Verdict there, not a whole lot we can do there. Unfortunate, but that's the way the game goes. Sometimes you keep 4 mana sources. I take a build around for that archetype. I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it's doing anything inherently aggressive or powerful. It just seems like bad Gruul. Clover doesn't seem powerful enough. Dissonant Turmoil, thanks for the 16 months. Think about what that game looks like if we get to play Magic, right? Yeah, it's cute. Cute is a good descriptor. A lot of those company decks is just like, why should I be doing this instead of playing Gruul or whatever else? The green-white company is the whatever else. Genrad, thanks for the 26 months. Welcome back. Their deck seems kind of cute, but it probably would win more games if they just cut the Clovers and played Ember Cleaves, right? They're playing Bonecrusher Giants and Lovestruck Beasts. They should probably play the more powerful cards. Oh, I think you're right, actually. They did have Cleave game 1, so that just means they weren't playing enough Collected Company hits. You're right. They were greedy and also had Cleave in their deck. So they were playing Collected Company, Cleave, and Clover. That's a good point. I forgot about that. And they still managed to hit 2 good cards on both the companies they cast. D-Chan, I would build a deck like that with 20 some good Collected Company hits, and my Collected Companies would never do anything meaningful.
It's my turn. Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, I would bet their deck probably had 28 or 29 company hits, including Elves and Innkeeper, and those are pretty medium company hits. Even their 2/2 flyers can't block aren't very good company hits in a lot of situations, right?
I don't need this.
This game's not about to be close. Magic players and skimping on company hits, name a better combination. Magic players skimping on company hits and then bitching that they're unlucky when they miss. That's the real MVP. Glorybringer is so good in this format. Didn't expect it to be called out this early. That's true. Magic players do hate playing an appropriate number of lands. I add 1 to 3 lands to most deck submissions people send me. Oh, we got the Baleful Mastery foil, Sunshine. We're in it to foil it. It's funny, so when people send me a deck submission, the email that I send back to people says, this is fine, but I reserve the right to change things like lands and sideboard and little details while keeping the archetype the same. And the reason why I send that message back when I accept deck lists is I had someone that submitted a modern deck back in the day that it was a really neat modern deck idea, so I accepted it, but they were only playing like 14 lands or something silly in it. And I like cut spells and added lands, and they were super upset that I added lands to their deck. Yeah, I mean, honestly, most people are submitting decks hoping that I'm going to change and fix them. But I put that asterisk in there these days just in case someone's gonna get upset. Never found good guidelines for 20 lands versus 23 versus 26. Whatever number you think you should be playing, add 2. 14, no, well, they had Mox Opal in their deck. This was before Mox Opal was banned, so it was like 14 lands for Mox Opals. So it wasn't quite like 14 lands bad, but I think I added 3 lands to it. I think I got to 21 mana sources. All right, so extra Cling, extra Soul Guide's good. Again, like this for kind of poking at their critical mass to stop them from building up to Phoenix, but not so much that I want to take life total hits from it. This is good. Crux is fine. Maybe I don't want the sweepers, I just want more 1/4s here. Board in these, drags the curve down a scotch. Dragon's Horde for this deck. Nah, I think I prefer Mindstone. I love the top comment on there, Beansy. Why not lift the mask mandate based on people who are vaccinated and not based on cases because we're doing really bad case-wise? Well, that's why, you dipshit. They're gonna hone up on metrics based on case count because you're doing real bad case-wise. You answered your own question. Why do we have to use this metric? Why can't we use this other metric? Oh yeah, Florida's a complete disaster. I feel bad for the reasonable people that live in Florida. I mean, for the record, just so people understand where I live, like, Illinois is a solidly blue state because places like Chicago and Peoria vote Democrat, but like my local congressional representative, Republican, won his re-election with like 60+% of the vote. So like, I enjoy living in the cornfields for the cost of living here, but the demographic of people here is, leaves some to be desired, you could say. I'm gonna play this out proactively, even though it doesn't exile anything, because if my opponent wants to, like, spin their tires with Faithless Looting next turn and dump a Phoenix in the bin, this stops it from happening. They're suspending cards from the MPL League play that's happening. Wow, is this embarrassing? Holy crap. Their league play is happening on the 15th and 16th, and they are aware of these bugs, and rather than fixing them in the next almost 2 weeks, they're instead saying these cards aren't allowed to be legal for the event. What peak Wizards of the Coast? Like they've known about this bug for 2 weeks already. They've known about this bug for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, chat. And they can't fix it in another 2 weeks? The bug is search for Azcanta provides devotion on its backside when it shouldn't. That's unreal. Like, I mean, it's not unreal because, like, I'm familiar with Wizards of the Coast, but it's embarrassing. It says they're on track to fix it by June 4th. Yikes. So, honestly, they should probably just ban Thassa's Oracle. They should probably just ban Thassa's Oracle, because that card's probably too good for the format anyways. Ooh, that's some good thinking / sleuthing. Maybe the next big release is gonna be June 4th then? Maybe we'll get a new card drop on them? Oh, Wizards. Every time I think the bar can't get any lower, they manage to drop it down on there. Listen, okay, I'll forgive them. If we get Innistrad remastered on June 4th, I forgive you not having bug fixes ready. All is forgiven if you're gonna give me more cards. All is forgiven if I get cards on June 4th. We won't get new cards until June 11th because the Strixhaven Championship is June 4 to 6. Oh, that's good thinking. That's probably true. Okay, so I take their Sprite Dragon, and we Baleful Mastery to exile this. And then this, I want to cycle because I need to find blue. The blue-red spells matchup with this deck has felt really good. We've won that matchup basically every time we've played it today. The archetype's been pretty popular since Croakeys went on a tear on it the other day on stream. So Jiro, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. So they're not being suspended in general, chat. They're only being suspended for league play. I believe, right? That's what this says? Yeah, they're only... You have to deal with it being exploited on the ladder. You ladder peasants. The ladder peasants could deal with the bugs. They're going to suspend it for league play, though. How does the bug affect games? It mostly doesn't. It's honestly a pretty low impact bug. It's just weird that, like, they would not make it a priority to fix and would make a public suspension. Especially, like Search for Azcanta is, like, a big deal. Like, that hurts a number of very real decks. I almost feel like, and I get that this is messy to validate, but in my opinion, if they really felt this was an issue, they should do a case-by-case basis and say, you can't play these cards with cards they abuse the bug with. So they should let people play Search for Azcanta without Devotion cards. So the issue for people that haven't been following closely is that cards like Search for Azcanta, when they are transformed into the land, provide blue Devotion currently on Magic Arena, which is a bug. That is not how the rules are supposed to work with that card. Rather than banning it outright, I definitely think that. Nah, Geistis ain't trash is fine for Historic. Or change the rules to make the bug a feature. They could also do that. They could change the rules to make a bug a feature. That is also a... You know, it's funny. People often talk about, like... I often hear people complain that digital card games don't provide a rule book. The reason why all digital card games don't provide a rule book, chat, is so that way when you encounter a bug, they can just say the bug's a feature if they want to. AHM, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. I think we trim Bolas Dragon God here. Actually, it's probably... Would I rather trim Bolas or rather trim Chandra? I feel like I lean towards trimming Chandra because this kills their chunkier creatures. Again, leaving this in against the creature deck, boarding out Thoughtseize. Or opponent's just conceding the match. Weird. I guess they conceded game 1 to Inquisition. Maybe they had to go, or they just don't want to play against discard spells. Either way, thanks for the ladder points. Rack 'em up. Thanks for the ladder points. Timing with Grixis, chat. Timing with Grixis. Luris. I have Mastery. I have Nicol Bolas. I want to keep this hand against Arcanist or Rogues, I think. If they're on Auras, I'm a little bit sad that I kept this. Well, so the modal double-faced cards, Bob, have different casting costs on both sides. Whereas, like, this card doesn't have a printed casting cost on the backside, right? So they're technically... I mean, we had 2 people just, like, disappear in a row. It's sad. So, like, technically, I can understand... I can understand why, from a technical perspective, they're counted differently. Yeah, I think Delver's probably still fine even with Brainstorm. It's obviously better with Brainstorm, but I don't know that it's, like, better by a meaningful amount. Well, because it's not an empty array, because the converted mana cost of the backside of this is 4. It's just not supposed to provide devotion. So the backside CMC on these is the CMC of the front side, for reference. Suno Tam, thank you for the 27 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Mana value, or whatever you Zoomers are calling it these days. Thanks for the Biddies Beetle. Get mana value and get devotion probably different. That's fair. Maybe. Burk Chirps, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Sweet. And now, so with this sequencing here, I want to Nicol Bolas before I Thoughtseize, because I want them to choose what they're discarding before they know I'm going to be Thoughtseizing. Because, like, for example, I bet they binned this, assuming they were going to have Aloris. They do have Claim 2, that's true. No Thoughtseize in the bin. I think we're just gonna give them a card here, right? We'll, like, do this, murder something, Baleful Mastery, murder the other.
Let's do this. Ugh, don't you hate that burnt hair smell?
Well, I could deal 2, make a treasure. That's true. Maybe that's better. Exiling the Arcanist also has some value, though. And this lets me save the command to draw 2, discard 2 in case I, like, draw another land next turn. Be shocked in. We have the Thoughtseize me.
Figure it out on your own.
Supplier, sure. If we find a Crux, so we're in trouble. Ooh. He's so good, chat. +1. Get a 2 for 1.
If you're interested.
I did technically miss 4 points of damage. I don't know that we're fully in garbage time. I think if they draw a way to kill Nick this turn, they could be okay. I think if we get, like, another +1 out of Nick, we're probably solidly into garbage time. And they get to, like, fame this and put him to 1. But he's still gonna have drawn 2 cards and exiled 2 things from them, so, like...
Your efforts
pretty good. Nice, nice.
You have no weakness that I cannot exploit.
Okay, I think we're in garbage time now. Okay, and there's Cruxa. I'm gonna just exile the Cruxa proactively here. Oh, I could have Chandra'd and plus tier, right, for mana? I think that's fine. I want to hold the land. Guess you want to loot with this. It probably doesn't matter, like I said. Craigie, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel today. She is hot, chat. Alright, Cling, Shadow's Verdict, Abrade, Nikki B, Soul Guide Lantern, Heartless Act. This is an all discard spells out matchup. These board states often get to a point where your opponent's playing to the board. You need to be able to respond to the things that they've played to the board. How many sweepers do I want here? 4 is probably about right. Could be less. Definitely want the Shadow's Verdicts. Three more trims here. Acceleration from Mind Stone's probably not important. Could see trimming that. Prismari Command doesn't kill a huge range of things. The fact that it misses Arcanist feels pretty bad. Maybe I don't want all the Clings because they're a Scavenging Ooze deck, so it's hard to grind card advantage with this. It's probably true. I still have 4 pieces of Graveyard Hate without it. Mostly put the 3rd one in the board for the Rogues matchup. Pretty easy mulligan here with no second land. Pretty good keep. I think we bottom Glorybringer, keep the 2 pieces of cheap removal so that way they can't go discard spell into Arcanist safely. Like if I bottom one of these and they discard spell into Arcanist, the Arcanist could potentially go unchecked, which wouldn't be good for me. A must kill on sight. This gets to start generating value with things like Harvest. Thinking about drawing the cat here. It's a little greedy, but I kind of like keeping my guaranteed 5 lands here. Nice. Not discarding a land punishes us if they have like a Thoughtseize. We're gonna get to escape one of those next turn otherwise. Yeah, Verdict's very good. Very, very powerful effect. Hey, Glacier, thank you for the 4 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Good for a removal spell for this. It's not a terrible pickup. Means that I get to counter this drawing a card, which is nice. I could use this proactively, but I think I'd rather just use it reactively to get rid of their card, because I can always flash it back this turn to draw a second card with it, use my mana, and I'll have a couple of choices going into next turns. Yeah, this is fine. Thanks to Croxo, we can escape it again. Nice. Nicer. So Nikki B is more likely to kill the Arcanist. However, there's higher upside if Nikki B gets to live. And if I, like, play Nikki B and down ticket, they could potentially kill him next turn. I just feel like there's a good chance if I play this, they kill it. I really just don't want them to get card advantage from this Arcanist. And then hopefully next turn they just go like Lurrus Arcanist pass. I'm keeping this in hand in case they draw Croxa. Don't really need a 7th land in the short term. We'll take one though. We'll take a freebie. Yeah, if I would have played this, we wouldn't have gotten to kill their thing. Hearing Nikki B freaks me out. My name is Nick and my last initial is B. Well, rewarded for holding on to the land. And between our Klings and them using their graveyard with this, they don't have anything. They're not close to escaping us, which is great. And then we get to go ahead and kill this. I think I am again supposed to hold this land because I'm at too low of a life to activate this anyways. And this way, if they go like Lurrus, play Croxa from the bin, I can keep the Crux of Fate to kill the Lurrus. Because they don't really have any instant sorceries left in here, right? So they might just prioritize taking a card out of my hand. This works out well for us. Oh, the actual. I'm gonna play this out now. There's still one card off. I guess if they could put a card in the bin, they could escape this. Yeah, maybe this is wrong. I did miss 4 points of damage this game, so there's a chance if we lose the race, it's my fault. How do we feel about Abrade my Bonecrusher, cling your Croxa in response? I could also just Castle. But like Croxa's like their last resource, right? Yeah, it's a third Crux on. A lot of these decks only play 3 of them. If this is a threat, we could maybe get into trouble with this line, but like if this doesn't do anything, we're super far ahead. Nice. Hey, what's going on, Zach? I think current historic is quite possibly the best Magic format I've ever played. It's been really good. The archives really feel like they brought the format into its own in terms of like being this is no longer like standard plus or pioneer light. It's something like new and unique basically in a really good way. It's really sweet how they've been able to put, you know, cards like Brainstorm and Faithless Looting into this format that are like sweet cards that people like casting that aren't overpowered because the surrounding cards, there aren't fetch lands in this format and other things like that. We'll answer for Claim Fame. Well, they're actually out of things that are Claim Fameable. If you noticed, I was prioritizing taking those out of their graveyard. But yeah, I think we hold on to this, especially like with this straw. Or like not in a rush. Rude. It's the best format ever because Grixis is playable. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Now we play the waiting game, chat. Get all those out of there just in case. Alright, did you peel again or are we done here? Good stuff. Good stuff. I could just hope they draw a brick here, but I would like to flip this over. Feels like a heck of a game to go out on. I like to end on a high note, and that feels like a pretty high note. It was a pretty good set overall. Yeah, I like this build a lot. Well, obviously we're a control deck, so you have like some typical control deck. My answers don't line up well into their threats problems on occasion. I feel like this build does a really good job of mitigating that downside in a lot of instances because of Nicol, Bolas, and Glorybringer. Just like this powerful top end, honestly, alongside Bonecrusher Giant here too, just letting us have these proactive 4-power threats that can close games out. Yeah, honestly, so I've talked about Abundant Growth likely being the best 1-mana card draw in this format. If Abundant Growth isn't the best 1-mana card draw, it's probably Cling to Dust. This card is just super impressive every time I play it. Like, it's a random card that hoses rogues, which feels good that you get to play main deck. There's so many people just like incidentally dipping into their graveyard in this format, and this like randomly stops those. In long games like that last one, it just like generates card advantage because you just like instantly have, 5, 10, 15 cards in your graveyard from trading resources back and forth. So it's like this really pretty unassuming card that just like does a lot for a little bit of cost of inclusion. And honestly, like even in the aggro matchups too, right? Like if you've played deck lists like this before, you know that like stabilizing against mono red and then they like peel the last lightning bolt to burn you out. The fact that this card gains life in a pinch too is like really sweet because you just like cast this as healing salve to win games against the aggro decks in a lot of situations. So I think Dead Guy Ale's probably the exception to the rule in wanting this in most mid-range based decks, because that's a Thalia deck that also plays a lot of removal, exile removal. So like your graveyard, you're a lot of creature based stuff that doesn't always end up in the bin. So I don't think this card really belongs there. Chaos Warp is just like, this is already up on the website. Yeah, this is in the fan favorite section. So this is that's a good plug for that before we start some BioShock. If you're new to the channel and haven't checked out my stuff before, I have a really organized YouTube channel as well as a website here. You can click historic decks on the main navigation up top here. And if you haven't seen this deck before, this is one of the many brews you can find in the fan favorite and high potential category here. You can click on in to any of these deck list pages here, and you'll find a short description, a deck list, a video of me playing it. You can also search, so if you want to see other high potential deck lists or other aggro decks, there's some search features on the side, so put a lot of time into that. It's a great resource for finding historic decks that are competitive and a little bit off the beaten path. All right, at any rate,